Detroit is different. Detroit is different. I can feel it. Detroit is different.
Welcome back to the Detroit is Different podcast studios. In studio now, I got a guest from another guest that said, look, I'm going to tell you and bring in a lot of people that have done a lot of things when it comes to Detroit, and especially in culture. So Chungalia, check the archives of Detroit is Different to get that interview, but he definitely connected me with this gentleman as he was really speaking up his story when he was in here before his story. Lou Beatty Jr., how are you today, my brother?
Absolutely outstanding. How about yourself?
Good. I remember you said that earlier, and outstanding is definitely one of those adjectives I think I rarely hear, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, outside of the Gap Band song in the summertime or something, but not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot.
My father used to ask me, how can you say that? And I said to him, you too can
Hilarious.
say that.
Hilarious.
Project it and be that.
I'm with it. Definitely. So we always start these with the origin, as Chungalia shared the bits and pieces of the story that he's opened up about.
Mm-hmm.
But let's start with the origin. Your family's connection to the city of Detroit. How many generations deep? What led your family here? What's the Detroit connection?
My father and his siblings came here after his parents had passed. He was 8 years old by the time both of his parents were gone.
Wow.
They were from Union, South Carolina. His older sisters were in command of the family when they got here, and he spoke of his aunt, his sister Claire as dear, and she was the mother figure, and Bay Panetta was the other mother figure, and they pretty much squired about 5 others in their family. They all came from Union, South Carolina. In the 20s, my family, no one was college educated, but they were workers. And my dad and his brothers ended up with a construction company. They had 10 hotels that they individually owned. Some had 3, some had 4 in the black neighborhoods. And my dad got pretty well known in this town, and his brothers, for rehabbing the Catholic churches first. And in rehabbing the Catholic churches, the black preachers who found out about his and his company's abilities, all black workers, artisans, plasterers, carpenters, every type of artisan, from steel to cement. Matter of fact, Pop Gordy, Barry Gordy's dad, was a cement guy. So my dad knew everybody that did everything, and he then built the churches that were left during white flight and adjusted them for the black churches that took them over, especially the large edifices. And he also did things for the city and school system. And matter of fact, I was on that job. I was home from school. We built Aretha Franklin's dad's church on Linwood. It was the Oriole Theater. And like so many others, we hung the steel girders, created altars, and that was a big job we were very proud of. Macedonia Baptist on the east side, I worked on that job a different summer. Each summer, I would work with a different person. I would work with the brick guy. One summer, I'd work with the plasterer. These guys are artisans, man. They had a board with this mud on it, and they would work on it up on a ladder, and they would just, before drywall. This was the best thing to do. And I worked with them. And the electrician one summer, Mr. Block, owned the electrical He had an office on Oakland Avenue on the North End. I am from the North End. So bottom line, that is what my family did.
Okay, I want to unpack a lot of that as like I like to kind of like bit by bit, but you highlighted a couple things that I certainly want to get back into, and like putting pins all over. But before we even start there, so that would be your great aunts. How old were they when I guess that so how old were they when your grandparents passed?
Well,
great aunt, they'd just be young.
I am only remembering how old my dad was. You're making me think, and I'm thinking that they were 10 to 15 years older. There was also my Aunt Ethel. She was also older, and my Aunt Isabel. She was another one of the sisters. Tony Gooch's mom. Tony Gooch is a architect in this town now.
Okay.
But they were pretty much all older than my dad. I can't say, but it was time to leave.
But in that also, that's still relatively very young when we're looking at like an 18 or like maybe like a 20, you know, at most you're saying like 23 or something like that. So now I have to really kind of get a little bit into the story of like so many of these stories like follow a lot of migration patterns, great migration patterns when we talk about Black families. So so many Detroiters have roots to Alabama and Georgia. South Carolina and North Carolina, those patterns in the railways usually went up to like a New York, New Jersey.
You're thrilling me, young man. You are thrilling me. Okay. Because that is the truth. There were set patterns. I worked at WJZZ and WCHB. Matter of fact, WCHD before it became WJZZ. And we had American Airlines as a client. And American Airlines in the 70s noticed these patterns. These patterns were Georgia, South Carolina, up the East Coast. These people were agrarian. They knew farming. You have places like New Jersey, which is called the Garden State for a reason, because there was a lot of canning and manufacturing of agriculture. I forget the name of the company, but a lot of farming was done there. So these people went Florida. These people went up the East Coast. Again, Alabama, Georgia, they went to the Midwest. Mississippi.
Arkansas went
to Chicago.
Oh, yeah. That's muddy waters, as I always say, like the blues. Some of them also went further
That was
west.
Chicago, Louisiana, Texas, California. There's a train that goes from Louisiana. I forget what they called it, but it was sort of like in the tune Midnight Train to Georgia. There's a train that was known as something chief that went from New Orleans to L.A. And that's the migratory pattern there. I'm saying this because American Airlines realized this, and they saw it at holidays. They saw people traveling back and forth on the buses. So they got into the business of making sure that they advertised directly, which we call, not day part, when you pinpoint your target. So they used Black radio at that point to advertise their flights going from this place to this place, this place to this place, and they truly increased their business.
I would imagine.
Based on that.
Yeah, I definitely would imagine. And those, like that target audience is definitely
target
there.
market.
So in that same arc, that's always the question anytime I speak to someone with family roots in like a South Carolina or Florida that end up here. What was it that brought, your aunties to come to Detroit as opposed to going further east?
I can tell you that. And I can tell you why a whole lot of people came to Detroit. The automobile industry.
Okay.
Black people were getting jobs that could actually make them enough money to pay off their property back home where they lived, help the people back home where they lived, buy a home here, and receive company. We had grass. Detroit is unique to a lot of places. A lot of places have rental property and large buildings that go straight up and huge complexes of people. We had everyday homes that the automobile industry afforded these people and Europeans and Southern whites, all of these groups, a way to make the dollar without a college education that they never could make anywhere else.
Okay. All right. So did you, like even to this day, did you all have like a lot of family that either stayed, let's start Union City. Have you ever been did any family stay down there in South Carolina?
I don't know them. My whole existence has been Detroit and other places, but my dad told me if I ever went back to Union, South Carolina, which is Union Spartanburg,
okay,
I'd see 200 cousins.
Wow.
It is said that the Scotsman Beatty, I was on a show at the National Black Theater Festival in 2013, and we were doing a press conference. A lady came up to me during the press conference and waved me down saying, "Are you Lou Beatty?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Judge Beatty wants to see you." I said, "Okay." I didn't know the man. So after the press conference, I met my cousin, Judge Jim Beatty, federal judge in North Carolina, and we sat. That man told me things about my family I never knew. When he got to mentioning names I did know from my childhood, I was shaken.
Wow.
In about 20 minutes, he told me of the Scotsman Beatty. It was B-A-T-Y. They have a picture of him. He had everything. Picture of him, picture of his offspring, which in this case was my father's father, Will Beatty, who they said was the meanest yellow nigga in South Carolina. The sheriff would tell people, if you go up in there and he does something to you, we told you before you went. Jim Beatty told me about my grandfather, who I never saw. They say he looked like Kentucky Colonel.
What's his name? Colonel, man.
Anyway, the Kentucky Chicken.
Man. Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
And he said that he killed his brother when he was about 11 about some change. So the man was mean. So when you look at the hue of my grandfather and you look at the different flavors in that next generation, I never met my grandmother. They were, of course, dead before my dad was, when he was 8.
Yeah.
She had to be like African, bone, African, because the colors are all in there. You know, the hair textures are all in there. So that's, if I didn't get off the point, that is all I know about Union. And I've not been there. I went to the only black military school in the history of the United States, St. Emma Military Academy, Rock Castle, Virginia, September 7th, 1959. I met a cousin who was from Spartanburg, and his last name was Douglas. His dad was a dentist, but he was a member of my family clan in that area. They say that Mr. Beatty owned the largest slave plantation either in Union County or in South Carolina. I am not sure which one that was. I'm 80 years old, so there's some things that, I'm just not tight on.
Gotcha.
But that's pretty much the history of my family coming out of there. But they were all workers. My dad would tell me things like, when they were young, consumption was a big deal. And consumption is the colloquial term for, I'm having a senior moment. Anyway, it's a lung disease. And they would go to the barn every morning and take a swig of cod liver oil to allay the chances of getting consumption. And you got to understand the conditions. These homes were built just up off the ground. So air is getting under these houses. Of course, they don't have great insulation in the first place, but now you got air circulating tuberculosis.
Yeah.
Now you got air circulating all around, and it was a big deal. So many people died from consumption, and old people know what they're doing. So they were drinking cod liver oil. They're selling all types of fish oil pills nowadays, for $1 a pill. You got 60 pills, $60 a month. They had a 5-gallon can that they all took a swig from. And this is going back to when we were what we were before we came here.
So I love what you share, and I'm one of those people that take fish oil vitamins.
Me too.
I just ordered some the other day, especially like in this time. Anytime that I think like, anytime where things transition with temperatures, I'm looking for things like that.
Right.
With that, I love in Detroit is different, as people know. You know, thank you for supporting Detroit is different. But I like to also like kind of earmark times in history, and sometimes I even learn more on these than most. But South Carolina, in the history of America itself, serves as a very what do I want to say? A very, for lack of a better term, very important and impactful state when it comes to so much of the forming of the United States of America, and definitely when we think of what the Civil War is South Carolina is like the scene of what would become what the Union fought for, the capital of the United States of America. And I also like to frame this because right now, I think oftentimes, at least when I watch history in historical movies or even like a lot of documentaries, the thought process is that a lot of the enslavers of the South were like these more what would I say, like more brute and less educated folks. But up to that point, really, when we think about like historically, as I get more of this information and gathered, having the Southern dialect, the Southern drawl, it was accepted in many European countries as these are the people that are in leadership, and shifted a lot of things, especially when we think even after like the Louisiana Purchase, and what happens because of what the brothers and sisters in Haiti did. It really resets a lot of the map. And clearly, this is not uplifted enough, but without the Union Army accepting so many of the enslaved black men to join along and fight against the Confederate Army, America would be a lot different. Let's just point blank. But South Carolina just like plays such a very historic role, even in the ports and the shipping between America and Europe, and back and forth. So some of the histories and some of the things and the atrocities and a lot of the horrors, even after the Civil War, a lot of that Daughters of the Confederacy, which really, as I've talked about before on here, it's like the 40s, the 50s, and 60s. A lot of these Confederate statues are not around like right after the Civil War. This comes up really, like 40s, 50s, 60s, and even 70s, and some still even fighting for it today. Even we think of, the late Strom Thurmond, you know what I'm saying? So like, South Carolina is one of the places that in American history and where it stands, especially when it comes to black folks, definitely needs to be explored, because a lot of, I think, the reality of America itself kind of starts and roots there.
May I say?
Yes, sir.
You have not hit on a few topics that inspire me.
Okay.
First of all, South Carolina and Virginia were the places where a lot of the slave trade got to America. There are slave selling blocks in South Carolina where the slaves got off of the ships. So a lot of slaves and you hear a lot of families talking about they started in Virginia and they started in South Carolina.
Yeah.
And as the Civil War progressed, a lot of slaves were sent deeper south so that they could still be retained in places where there were not as many skirmishes. Strom Thurmond, one of the cadets, who was a great friend of mine, he was a Navy SEAL, as a matter of fact. His mother was very close to Strom Thurmond. She would be invited into his home on a regular basis, racist that he was. Strom Thurmond had a black daughter, and he supported that girl. I do believe he sent her to South Carolina State in Orangeburg. There are a few other topics that you got on it I wish I could have cut in, but it's your show.
I got you, man. But I like to always kind of give nuggets, and I'm sure I'll let you like kind of get that piece. But I also like to, because sometimes I don't think that it's framed right when it's brought up, because a lot of times, especially right now when we think about history, we like to just act as if, we did things wrong and now we're doing things right.
And let me say this about one other thing you said. The people that actually had plantations were educated. The people that worked for them were not educated. So thinking that the people who were in charge of slaves, in charge of the fields and all of that were at the top of the economic strata, that's not true. These people at the top were educated. Their children went to finishing schools for the girls, military schools, of which there were a great number. In the 1950s, there were so many boarding schools, i.e. military schools or finishing schools throughout the South, all the way up the East Coast into New England. They ran out of money. And a lot of these institutions, including mine in 1970, went defunct because they no longer had the money stream that was set up after the Civil War. The monuments really got started being put up in the 1890s and the early 20th century because after Reconstruction, there was a great pushback. And those African Americans that had been voted into positions, even in Mississippi and places like that, were all pushed back out. And there was a feeling, even in the movie industry that I am in, you don't see the representation, as you have already stated, as it really was. So at that point, when everyone was, okay, let's not force this thing on the South anymore, they even made heroes out of Southern commanders and all of that. And so it was all American to talk about these guys who were killers,
rapists,
murderers,
thieves, any other adjective that to display the horrors and what's despicable, which, as we see, still carries out in a lot of American politics today. Let's use that term. But even, it's really uplifted in the film Birth of a Nation, which is like America's first hit film, but this is technically a story that really has roots. And if anybody ever watches it, and it's many iterations you can watch, but it has roots in these white men in blackface, basically being portrayed as black men that are savages looking to like rape white women. And then you have these white soldiers that end up creating the Ku Klux Klan and murdering these savages that are black men looking to ravage white women. This is America's first big-time movie hit, to the point where even the president at the time welcomed that film to be screened, like, I want to say, like, for a whole month in the White House.
He was a jerk. As a matter of fact, the Klan, after Reconstruction, started growing. When it got to this film in like 1915, once this film came out, it just it just promoted the whole idea that the black man is a scary individual.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want them around your white daughters. This film just exacerbated that whole thing, and the Klan grew exponentially after this film. It was already there.
Yeah.
It had started in the 1890s, but it really grew after that. And lynchings and hangings were a commonplace thing throughout the South all the way up until the 1950s.
Yeah.
Some in the 1960s.
Yeah.
I myself was damn near hung in Kingstree, South Carolina.
Wow.
Because my girlfriend was basically an octoroon. But she I won't say she was an octoroon. She was so fair, these guys thought that she was white. And it was until she came screaming out of a restaurant, yelling at these guys. I was surrounded, that she was black. I had a major problem. I got many stories about living in the South. I went to high school in the South, as I told you. So many stories about things that happened. But sure.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for all that we're sharing in this conversation. And you're giving me more information. That's what it's about. Now I kind of want to get to you also speak of like when your family comes here, it's more so in that the thought process definitely created to the automotive industry. A lot of people are here for it, and not just necessarily working directly inside the automotive industry. A lot of the tier 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 suppliers, meaning like whatever could kind of go into this industry, are created. And a lot of those same shipping patterns and lines, even to this day. I don't know. I mean, you guys know that the busiest port in the United States of America is actually here in Detroit, but a lot of that stuff was even established when, Detroit was a province of France, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of fluidity of opportunity you could get here. But your family seems to definitely lean into a lot of that same entrepreneurship when you talk about the skills of masonry and construction and things like that. So I guess now I have to ask the questions of just really your dad. Where does he start picking up these skills in construction, and what leads him down that path?
Okay. My dad and his brothers went to Hamtramck High.
Okay.
They all played an instrument. My dad was given a scholarship to Wayne State University, I believe, in art.
Okay.
It may have been music, but I believe it was in art.
What time?
We're talking the late 1930s.
Okay.
And let me see. He was born in 1918, so I would say the late 1930s.
Okay.
But this is the story that he and my mother told me. There was a family on Arden Park, I believe it was, in Detroit's North End, a Jewish family that was sponsoring him.
Interesting.
And there was a cross burned on their lawn.
The family's lawn?
On the family's lawn. These white people that were sponsoring my dad.
Well, I have to make the designation as another more recent interview. Being Jewish in America, especially back then, is a different experience. Even to check a lot of the files of what Albert Kahn would speak to.
Right.
Yeah.
So, having said that, he dropped out of Wayne, and in doing that, he gave up his scholarship, but he didn't want these people to suffer.
Yeah.
Because of him being there.
Yeah.
So he and his brothers started learning the things, and I can't say that they immediately started learning. They may have started learning this before because there was life before college.
Yeah.
But it was at that point where he started to become a painter.
Okay.
A house painter. In being a house painter, he met other black artisans, electricians, and the South was built by a whole lot of black people.
You got that right.
I mean, so many bricklayers. I mean, it's an art.
I mean, even the White House.
Yeah, right. How about that?
Yes.
So he just he was a painter, and then he became a general contractor. because he was pulling. My dad had leadership all in him.
Okay.
And his brothers were loyal, ready, and deferred to his leadership.
Okay. And I wanna add this even to this day. I don't know if any people, I mean, it's more renters and stuff, but like homeowners, and it's a lot of do it yourself. But even to this day, when you see a wall painted by a master craftsman, or, somebody like, they just go to Home Depot and get the spray or whatever, completely different reality. And
right?
You definitely know.
Yeah. So having said that, he organized the Black artisans. And then he went after jobs. Of course, as I told you, he was doing tuck pointing with other artisans on these Catholic churches. Yeah. So he became well known throughout the archdiocese. I got stories.
Okay, and even to that point, especially being Focus Hope over here, but the Shrine of the Madonna, rest in peace, Father Cunningham. From that church out grows many other things, and also if people understand things like the many different things about the Catholic Church if you know it, but the Catholic Church also, the way it engages in community, the way it like serves in different roles, it functions kind of differently. My grandmother, whose bedroom we're in, but it's the studio now, was a social worker within circles of Catholic organizations because she was Presbyterian, and it's a lot that even goes into definitely the design of a lot of these cathedrals. Is in a lot of the detail. One of the things that always really reigned true, I don't know how it stands today as much, but many of the Catholic Church's members, even in life insurance, would have obviously life insurance for themselves and their family, but they were also like sharing policies for the churches. So it's some Catholic churches that may only still have 15 members today, but just due to the amount of life insurance policies and family policies given from, the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, some of the churches that have the largest bank accounts may only have 30 members today. I just want to uplift that. And that kind of goes into a lot of the wealth that's shared. You all can read a whole lot more about, the function and the systems of Catholic churches, but even Hamtramck being one of those places, hence it's a reason why I think it was 1991, one of the Pope's visits here to America. I mean, he went to Hamtramck. It's like a whole statue over there.
The
connected
Pope
to
was
it.
Polish.
Yep.
And St. Ladislaus, there was, I think, 3 major parishes, if not more, in Hamtramck. Hamtramck was a Polish town.
So, yeah, I just wanted to add those points. But through it, it's, you're going to have some money because they're looking to, we want to get it done right, more so than, save some dollars per se. So I could see as your father's kind of going in this journey and his brothers following him. I'm guessing are some of his brothers may be actually older than him, it seems like.
Yeah, his brother Fred was older than he. His brother Robert was younger. Okay. But they moved as a team. They did everything as a team. They had individual things and buildings that they owned. None were college educated, but they moved as a team, and whoever was good to represent them in whatever way, that was the lead person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So naturally, now I want to ask, moving forward, you mentioned that North End for you. When does your dad meet your mom, and how do you all end up in the North End?
Well, the North End was a place that a whole lot of people ended up. It was a Polish community. It was also German. It was also Lithuanian. It was also Ukrainian. It was also Italian. You would walk up and down Westminster, and the smells from one storefront to another were so different and so significant, you would know what the race of the people were that were there, what they were selling. It was a magical time. Saturday afternoon on Westminster was just the most wonderful place in the world. Bakeries, delicatessens, five and dimes, wild game stores, sausages, fruit and vegetables. This is way before supermarketism, you know. So a lot of people moved there, and that was a place that, you know, it was international until white flight. Because this was working class, you could afford a home. There were big homes there, but they were in a section. And then there were regular 1 bed, 3 bath, 1 bed, 2, 1 bath, 3 beds, 1 bath, 2 beds, where working class people could live. And a lot of people had roomers because roomers were usually people who didn't have family. So you could rent a room, and we had roomers to someone, and then they could go to work and come back and help themselves up at some point. So that's the reason went to the North End. But people went all over Detroit, wherever they could. Black people were only sold houses by Jews.
Very much so. Is my community here. I mean, anybody ever been to Detroit is different. I mean, you all walk in and you all see the story of my grandfather and acquiring this house in the 40s, and it was this was a Jewish neighborhood, like many. And I mean, even to this day, most deeds still say, you know, can't sell to Negroes. I mean, like even right now, like you probably look up the deed to the house you in, you'd be like, damn, this ain't no Negroes. But Jewish families were
they were excluded as well.
Yeah, very, very much.
That's
so
how they ended up in their enclaves. But they allowed us to be able to purchase homes.
Definitely. So there in the North End, and then your mom and dad meeting. How did that happen?
Oh, well, you know, I wasn't there.
Got you. But you just got the story.
I didn't get much of a story other than she liked him and he liked her.
Okay.
And that he was a bouncer at the Champion Show Bar.
Where was that?
Holbrook in Oakland.
Okay. I know exactly where that's at.
Was alive, brother. I was there. This ain't nothing nobody told me. Oakland was alive all up and down the street. Barber shops, pool halls, just every kind of store, hardware, cancellation shoes, record shops. It was alive and so fun. I used to see Smokey walking down the street when he was 17, 16 years old. In my choir was Rosalind Ashford, original Martha and the Vandellas, Betty Levette, who is considered one of the greatest blues singers in the world. She was in the class behind me. We were all at this little Catholic school. We all sang in the choir. My class was 12 people. We graduated 12 people in 8th grade. There was also the Turner family. Half of them could sing. So our Christmases and Easters were so wonderful vocally and beautifully. We ended up with St. George as our parish. It was a Lithuanian parish, and we ended up with it. African Americans, Lithuanians would come back on these holidays to hear us sing, and we were so proud.
That's beautiful.
It was absolutely beautiful, and they bragged about it, and it was a good thing.
And Oakland Avenue, as people know, first off, shout out to Mama Jerry and all she's doing with Oakland Avenue Farms. Love Mama Jerry. But also, as we know, just other Detroit histories. I want to say from these Detroit is different, a lot of those Smokey Robinson stories have kind of been uplifted a little bit before that. It's like, man, Smokey was kind of like connected to the streets. I was like, he did make the Going to a Go-Go song. And then also...
three of the four tops.
Yeah, many, all in like that community.
So many.
Yeah, I'm as I always say, I'm a Northwestern guy, but a lot of Motown were people that went to Northwestern and Northern.
Jackie Wilson's mother lived across the street from me. I saw him all the time. Little Willie John lived on John R.
Wow.
And there's a placard today. If you drive down John R. heading south, and you just before you turn on Kenilworth, it'll say Little Willie John Court. These are people, like, people don't know who Little Willie John is. Fever.
Yeah.
Fever was the big tune in the 50s for everybody. Your show.
Oh, no, I love all of this. And even, well, I guess that may be more like 60s and 70s, but even there was many a Detroit street races on Oakland Avenue as well.
Willie Ford of the Dramatics got my paper out.
Okay. All right. So so that's the neighborhood. You said you went to school in the South, though. How did that happen?
Well, for some reason, some guys didn't like me, and they were trying to beat me up every chance they could, but I was very fast.
Okay.
One night I ran so fast that they just decided to beat up my sister, who I left behind when I was running.
Man. Dang.
Right? So that was pretty much getting to be the last straw. Then I came to school one day, and my classmate was in the alcove of the school really beaten up. And we said, dang, Carl, what happened? He said, they got me. And we're usually public school kids. We don't know exactly who it was. But he said, but that wasn't it. We said, what? They thought I was Lou. So the nuns told my parent, and I was there, he should go. My dad said, okay, there's this military school in Windsor, and it was a very big, wonderful school, and they took me over there. The gym was something like I'd never seen in my life. They said, you want to play basketball for us? I said, sure. I don't play basketball, but I said, sure. But then my mother knew Esther Gordy, and she was at that point Esther Gordy Edwards. She was married to State Representative Mr. Edwards. He was very popular in this town, fought a lot for black people. She took me to her house. Her son was already at this school in Virginia. My mother said, okay, you want to go to the black military school? I said, yeah, I want to go with the black kids.
All right.
So that's how I ended up in Virginia with a lot of other guys from the North End.
Okay.
And some of them are still around. I'm going to a funeral tomorrow for one.
Rest in peace.
But we had a lot of guys there at this school from New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, Cleveland, parts of Central America, Puerto Rico, Africa, a lot of delegates, kids that were in D.C. The delegates would send their kids to St. Emma. A lot of famous jazz people would send their kids. I had a kid in my platoon. He told me his father was a famous jazz player. I didn't know anything about jazz at that point. I was 16, 17. Well, his dad turned out to be Lester Young.
Wow.
And Lester Young, for people that don't know, was one of the great horn players. He was called Prez. This was a regular thing. A guy in my class was Toussaint Touré. His cousin, who had the same name, was the president of an African nation. We just had kids from all over. So my growth in worldliness, for lack of another term, I was exposed to a lot of these kids. They came from all of these different places.
Okay. So after school, coming back to Detroit, what was your thought process? I definitely know that you're into a lot of the arts. You mentioned singing a little bit, but that was back in the day. How do you come back and when do you really start kind of taking on the path of theater?
Well, here again, I was a singer. I was from the North End. Everybody on the North End sang that could.
Well,
I was told.
I assume back in that day, especially if I guess now that I don't even know what it would be, but like rapping in my era. But you also in singing could probably woo some woo over some charm of some young ladies as well. It's like, you know what I'm saying? You'd be doo-wopping all you could.
Right. But the point is I was a singer when I came back, and I always wanted to go to Michigan State.
Okay.
I was being sent to West Point. I turned it down. I was being sent to the Naval Academy. I turned it down. I was offered to be sent to the Air Force Academy, which was an upstart school at that point in 1963. Turned that down. the general said to me, and this is back at St. He said, this is a white general. He said to me, Lieutenant Beatty, what do you want to do? I said, General, I want to go to school with females. He shook his head.
Well, I definitely, I definitely think, especially if the 18 at the time, it's like
I was 17.
Oh, even more so. Yes,
he had a piece of meat that hung down here. He shook his head this way, and the meat went that way. Shook his head this way, and the meat went that way. I'll never forget him saying dismissed. And so that's how I got back to Detroit.
Okay.
I went to Michigan State.
All right.
I sang Lou Rawls at that point.
Okay.
And I sang with Sherry Payne, who is Frida Payne's sister.
Wow.
Sherry became one of, well, when I say with her, on a show with her called The Concert Under the Stars.
Okay.
And I opened for her.
All right.
We're talking thousands of students in the moonlight. Okay. I also sang at the Student Union. I was asked to come to Western Michigan to sing there.
Okay.
So I was a product of my neighborhood, and I sang in the key that I was comfortable with. In getting back to state, I didn't go to class like I should have, and the dean told me at the end of the first year, I didn't even know he knew me.
Hilarious.
I walked into his office. He said, "If it were about popularity, you would have graduated in your freshman year."
That's hilarious.
But it's not. So I'll never forget that. And he also berated a colored education as not being, I just didn't go to class.
Okay. Now let me ask this question too, because I guess this all kind of comes into play too. What time is this, and where is Motown at in the arc of this? Where is Jackie Wilson at in the arc of this during the time that this is happening for you?
Okay, this is 1963.
Okay.
Right?
So very...
At this point, Motown is very much established amongst Black people, just about to open itself up to the rest of the world, or the world is going to accept all the wonderful things that Motown is doing with these Black artists.
And you didn't think, like, from some of the people from neighborhood that you knew, like, hey, let me, Esther Gordy yourself, you weren't like, hey, Ma, let me get that phone number.
Let me say this about that. Esther Gordy was like a second mother to me.
Okay.
One of the most wonderful individuals I've ever known in my life. She came to every show I ever did in theater.
Wow.
In Detroit.
Wow.
Which was after that. At that point, Motown was like about 4 years old.
Yeah.
And Jackie Wilson never went to Motown.
Oh, no.
Aretha Franklin never went to Motown.
No.
Willie John never went to Motown. The Tops were not even at Motown. The Tops started in 1954. They were doing gigs in Idlewild and other places. They didn't get to Motown until, I think, the late 60s or mid 60s at most. But Stevie Wonder was there. Yeah. A lot of Marv Johnson, who was like an older brother to me, had one of the first million-selling records at Motown. God bless his soul. We were friends most all of my life. Cecil Franklin was one of my best friends. Carolyn Franklin was my first date.
Wow.
In a car.
Okay.
So all of these things are embedded in me. Okay. Bottom line is I went from Michigan State. I sat out a year. I went to the plant. And it was at the plant that I realized I was in the wrong place.
Okay.
And I needed to go back to school.
All right.
So I went to Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee.
All right.
And there I studied economics. I didn't know that you could go to college to be an actor. I'm Midwestern. I just didn't get that. My family was working class. I didn't know that. We had one of the greatest drama teachers, coaches, Black lady, Dr. Ford, at Fisk, that I didn't take advantage of her being there. I was in economics. Wow. My family was a business-oriented family.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, I left there. I did make the Jubilee Singers my senior year. Only music majors were in the Jubilee Singers, but the Jubilee Singers requested that I be allowed in the Jubilee Singers because I was singing at Fist too.
Okay.
And I had some friends from Ohio. We had a singing group, and we were doing some wonderful things. Bottom line is, after I left college, I started working for Bell Broadcasting in Detroit. Dr. Bell, Dr. Cox, Dr. Bass. And they had WCHB, WCHD, and which became WJZZ. At this place, I utilized my background in economics and business. It's two things here. In business, you want all the money coming at you. In economics is the flow of goods and services, which is more like for the community or the entity, state, city, or whatever, or larger. So in economics, you want to make sure things work for everybody financially as best as possible. In business, you want all the money coming at you. So in this, I could talk to my clients, no matter what they did, understand just how much money I felt that they could afford to pay for ads. I would write and produce their ads. I would pick the disc jockey to do the ads. And I did this for 11 years.
Wow.
I ended up with some of the biggest clients. I had Pine Knob. I had the Olympia, which was really the center of entertainment, Ice-Capades, Circus, all of that as well.
Red Wings.
Red Wings.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Yeah.
And I used to go to the games when I was a kid. Really. We were the only black faces there. Me and my friends off Kenilworth Street.
Okay.
On the north end, we were there, and we saw it all in the middle 50s. All right?
Yeah.
But utilizing those things, I got to a point where I could no longer go any further in radio. I had taken my son to an audition for a musical, Studs, Turkles, Working. We came into the room. We sat down. A lady came in the room. She says, okay, who sings? My son sat down, and I stood up.
Wow.
And that's how it happened. I got on that show as an understudy, understudying two parts. Then the very next show I did, the Dorothy Robinson Theater, I played husband to Kim Weston. Susie Garrett was also in the show. Susie Garrett is Marla Gibbs' sister. Susie Garrett ended up on Punky Brewster in TV. They lived on Clements.
That's my block.
A little bit further down there near Petoskey.
Yeah.
So from there, I went into, from radio, I went into doing commercials on the air myself as in front of the camera talent. And from there, I joined the Screen Actors Guild, doing commercials, industrial film, print ads. I was the first Black Mr. Goodrich. And then I joined Equity, which is the stage union. How did it go? First I joined SAG, AFTRA, then Equity. And I was doing theater and stuff like that around Detroit. Got to be the lead on some really wonderful shows. And from there, my marriage was breaking up. So in the mid-'80s, I had to go somewhere, either New York or L.A., to make enough money to keep my kids in the home that they were accustomed to. And I chose L.A., and I went to L.A., and I was on national TV playing Jack A's boyfriend within 3 weeks.
Hilarious. Okay. All right. So much that you provided there, a couple of different things. And I don't know how many people know this. Sometimes I share it, but a lot of people I don't think know. But to My under and postgraduate degrees are in marketing. Marketing is like the full suite of a lot of things when it comes to, the public relations, the publicity, the advertising, especially. So like when we really get into advertising, especially not as much now, but it's still kind of here. But like the 1950s, probably through like maybe like the 2000s, Detroit is a huge hub of a lot of advertising and the wings of what becomes commercials and things because the automotive industry is here. A lot of these large garages and things were like places where commercials were shot, especially when we think of General Motors and what General Motors offered. But not just General Motors, Chrysler and Ford, and at one point in time, American Motors as well. So a lot of the arc of the foundations into what becomes like even what's taught about advertising, it's right here in Detroit. Like you can go check certain libraries and especially like in the Burton collection, you can find like drafts of like what this would happen. And even the whole concept of like I often tell people, like the idea of like creating a personal bond with the customers. So like you almost like start with like, I don't know, like you'll start with the Ford Taurus and then you'll end up with a Lincoln throughout your whole journey as a person that buys cars. This immediately starts connecting and like coming out where even a lot of what you seem to be very foundational in, the advertising and radio and print ads, a lot of that stuff is here in Detroit. A lot of the history is here in Detroit. I don't know if it's uplifted to the general public as much, but it's hand in hand. A lot of that roots of a lot of this industry comes together. I think the television show Mad Men covered a lot of it from like a New York perspective. And there were many New York agencies, but Detroit, I think by far none, like had so much wealth just because of the amount of money connected to the automotive industry. As I've said before, General Motors, maybe up to like 1994, almost had like, maybe like if General Motors was like a country, it'd have been like a top 10 country. There was no president that became a sitting president that didn't even at least go to West Grand Boulevard once or twice, even in consideration of becoming president. Like I want to say, like from the 60s on through to Bill Clinton, it played a heavy part. And this is where like I could completely see where even being here, it would be many opportunities.
Industrial film was biggest in Detroit. East Grand Boulevard, starting from Woodward Avenue, going east, so many production companies going back. Radio was huge. Brace Beamer was the first Lone Ranger. People think that the gentleman who was on TV, the Lone Ranger came from radio. I'm just, so many things come to mind. But industrial film was biggest in Detroit. Yeah. Created in Detroit.
Yeah. So it was a lot of opportunity. So you go to LA, and then Jack A 227, one of my favorite shows. And shout out to Marla Gibbs, entrepreneurship and from the D, still kicking it. Love Marla Gibbs. So what was, when you get out to LA, this is the 80s. What's the feel like? Who do you start connecting with? We know Chunga is from LA, but he was here. But what's the feel that you got when you get out there mid 80s?
Before I get to that, Chunga was in the room when they created Kwanzaa.
Very aware.
This is huge.
Very much so.
The knowledge that man has, first-hand knowledge, nothing anybody told him. Yeah. He was there. There's so much to be learned from Chunga. Now, when I got to LA, I got there on a Wednesday.
Okay.
I met with a friend, college friend as well, from Central High School. Okay. Who was a very well-connected photographer, and they still talk about her, Barbara Dumetz, in LA, and she has showings from time to time. All right. She asked me to come to a party affair on Friday. Now, this is Wednesday.
Okay.
I talked to Barbara on Thursday.
Okay, so one day later.
One day later, then the next day on Friday, I go to this event. I told her I didn't come for this. I came here to work. I'm Midwestern.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go to work, come home, and all of that. But I met this lady who was a movie star. I didn't meet her at first. I'm in a room with all the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. And I see this lady in the crowd. And she sees me. And by the end of the evening, I'm introduced to this lady. She takes me to lunch on Monday.
Okay.
I go to see her agent on Tuesday. He says to me, "What can I do for you, honey?" I said, "Well, I want you to be my agent." He says, "Honey, it doesn't go like that. You come to see me, we talk, you go away, you do some things, you send me tape, you say, I want you to do this, I want to do that." He signed me on Thursday. I'd been there a week. I was on national TV 2 weeks later.
Wow.
Matlock, 227. I got a spelling series in the next year. Then I got put on Dynasty. I did 12 episodes of Dynasty.
Wow.
Hard to Kill. The guys I've been doing theater with in Chicago were in the first movie that, what's his name?
Steven Seagal.
His first movie that Steven Seagal did.
Yeah.
And I interviewed with him. And once he realized I'd worked with them guys, I got the part.
Wow.
So everything is clicking for me, but I'm also auditioning for other things. And I was almost in this film in 1988 with Danny Glover. And I almost had the name of the film in my head.
What, Lethal Weapon?
No, it's before that.
Not Color Purple.
No. It's before
Danny Glover back then. Oh, man, that's all I got.
Charles, what was his name?
That's all I got.
Was the director. Bottom line is, the director said, no. My agent said the director wants you, but the producers want a name.
Yeah.
To Sleep with Anger.
Okay.
To Sleep with Anger. And from that point, all the way up until the mid-90s, I would from time to time hear, the director wants you.
Want a name.
But the producers want a name.
Yeah.
I was almost in this film with Sundance Kid, Robert Redford. I went to the audition. This is before we only had these beepers.
Yeah.
So I got beeped to go in the 5th time. To be called in the 2nd time is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
This is the 5th time, but they had told me that they were trying to get Sidney Poitier too. And I'm saying to myself, Sidney Poitier got house notes just like I got them. If he gets a chance, he's going to take this film. And as I was going in for the 5th time, I forget the name of the film. But it was a big film. I didn't get in.
Okay.
Because they took Sidney Poitier. Another time, I was supposed to be, up to the day of, I was going to be Bumpy in American Gangster. Up until they called me the day before, "Are you ready to leave tomorrow?" "Yes, sir, I'm ready to leave."
Yeah, Clarence
Williams III.
Yep.
So this is something I'm working, but I'm not getting everything I could have gotten had I gotten to LA 10 years earlier. Because I would have at that point
had
made
opportunities.
The great Woody King, the godfather of black theater, who is from Detroit and the North End.
Okay.
I spoke to him in the mid-'90s, and I sent him my tape. He didn't know me, and Woody's older than me. He just passed a week ago, 10 days ago.
Wow.
He's 88 years old. But he is the godfather of black theater. He told me then, he said, if you come to New York, you will work. But I couldn't leave. I was doing commercials.
Yeah, you already had
I was doing
enough
guest star stuff. I could have gotten farther with him, but I couldn't keep my family in the house that I wanted to keep my kids in. So I'm just dealing with this. I'm Midwestern.
Yeah.
I go to work. They say, "Are you going to the party?" No. I'm not going to the party. I got to get up and go to work the next day.
Yeah.
I never would have been at Diddy's party. Probably way too old. But the Midwestern work ethic, the people that I admired most as a child, most to this day, are the guys that have retired from the plant, had their own house. It might be small, but it was well kept.
Yeah.
Had their own car. It might not be new, but it was shining. I loved everything about the fact that they put in their time and they got to the end result and they were so comfortable. To this day, movie stars are not who I aspire to.
Yeah.
Them guys right there to this day are the people that I aspire to. And the same work ethic that they had is the work ethic that I had.
Okay. So I do got to ask like just some cultural questions at the time, especially being out there in L.A., especially with, y'all know I love basketball. So what was it like being a Detroiter during some of those like Laker Pistons?
From the bell. And I got there, I got to the stadium. As soon as I got there, there was a girl in my complex that said, come on, we're going to go to the Lakers game.
So that's the LA Forum.
Oh,
so that's a different stadium. That's just like, I think with that new Showtime series that came out a couple years back, it kind of frames it differently in a Dr. Bus, but a different perspective of what basketball was than like many other places. Yeah, what was the Forum like going out that way?
Well, it was immense. And we were sitting way up. And the hot dogs cost $7. I could get a whole pack of hot dogs. I turned to the girl, I said, this costs $7. She said, but it's the Lakers.
Okay.
So I didn't really buy into it.
Okay.
Everybody there had their own love of their team, which was fine. But I found that there were a lot of people there who had come from other places. This was my perception. Who were seeking to be noticed. Who were seeking some sort of fame. And to a point where I remember someone said to me, you can't be from L.A. I said, why? He said, because you're smiling. I was at an audition.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it was for the audition. It's a very famous film where the guy's telling everybody, don't do this when you get in there. Don't do that. Bottom line is, I went back to my apartment where I was staying. I got on my knees. I said, Lord, please don't let them take my smile.
Wow, that's deep.
And I'm looking at these other people who are some of them at this point into their 40s, still not, in my opinion, being real about, the possibilities. So I had a different point of view. I already had a family. A lot of these people hadn't. I'd already worked jobs. I'd already worked in a plant. I'd already worked for a radio station. I'd done so many things. I remember I went out there, and this is to the point that you're speaking. I went out there in the 70s before I became an actor, and I was producing a commercial for Tuborg beer. And Tuborg was like a subsidiary of Black Label. I had done very well with the Black Label account. And I'm at the place on Crenshaw, right at the end, just before you go into this famous area. I forget what they call it. Bottom line, I'm at the theater, and people are trying to introduce me to people. They say, hi, how you doing? They're walking by. Hi, how you doing? Walking by. They're looking over me, going past me. When the word got around this room that I was there to produce a commercial, those same people that blew me off which I didn't take offense, lined up.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that.
Hey, that's
everybody is trying to find a way to fame and any glimpse of it. So it's what the people called in the old days gold fever. If you out in the old West and you wanted to find gold, you had gold fever. I just noticed that about a lot of people. So I didn't want people groveling.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to grovel.
Yeah.
I didn't seek to suck up to people.
Yeah.
For any reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of like that. I recall when I was on Dynasty, I went to the cast party. It was the end of the series. I was on there the last year. I had about half the episodes in the last year. And I was only a co-star. I was not a lead.
Yeah.
But I remember going to this place. This girl, I'm Midwest now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see the car I'm driving right now. The car I'm driving is 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Cars I drove there with that type of car.
Yeah.
So the young lady that I'm going with, who was a PhD, said to me, "You're not taking me to this affair in that car." I said, No, I'll rent a car. Mm-hmm. So we go to Beverly Hills to this famous thing. Mm-hmm. And we get there, she says, you got to get up. You talk to people. You got to. I said, I don't schmooze. I don't brown nose. I just can't. Mm-hmm. So we're sitting at the table, and this lady comes up. She says, "I'm Esther Shapiro. Do you know who I am?" I said, "Yes, ma'am. I know who you are." She is the creator of Dynasty, the showrunner, the head writer. She's everything. She says, "They wanted to kill you off in episode 16. But we wouldn't let them because you had us rolling on the floor even when you didn't have lines." I looked at the girl. She looked at me. Then during the course of the evening, most all the stars of this show. And let me say this. People who really are on the top, they ain't snooty for the most part. It's the people who are trying to get somewhere, trying to look past you, reach over you, that have these, for lack of another term, conditions. All these people, John Forsythe, most wonderful man in the world. As soon as I get on this show, my name is on the board, his name is on the board. I say the boys on the North End ought to see this shit. We get inside there, he is so amiable, so wonderful. Each one of those people came over, and I mean the biggest of stars, came over and thanked me for being on the show.
Cool.
So very cool. So you don't have to come out of your skin to try to be something that you're not, is what I would tell everybody else. I think the Midwest attitude is the attitude to have. I utilized it. It kept me there when times got tough. I stayed.
That's beautiful. And now I got to ask about two other heavy cultural moments in time there too. Before his passing, John Singleton, I thought did a great job creating a documentary about it. But the LA rebellions, late 80s, early 90s. What was that like, especially like you having some understanding, being from Detroit, having a understanding that consciousness? What was that tone like for you to see what was happening there?
It was hell on earth. I was in Koreatown. I am north of most of this activity. It's been going on for a couple of days, and it was coming our way. Helicopters were overhead. Fires were starting. Koreans had their own security, and it was at this point where they were fighting back, not to have their stores burned, looted, or whatever. And it was not just African Americans. But these guys were fighting and shooting. I called a cab. And I got the cab. It was an African guy. And I mean, the helicopters are over, sirens are going, smoke is up in the air. And I said, I want to go to the airport. He says, well, I don't know if I can get to the airport. I slapped a $50 bill right on it. He started driving. We got over to, I forget the name of the street right now, but we're not in South Central, but we're on our way to the airport, and people are in the streets, running past the car. They're dragging trash cans out. It's fire, and the guy froze. I said, drive! And he drove. He drove through people and all that. We got to the airport. Finally, I gave him an extra $50 bill. All right? I get in the airport. It's dead.
Wow.
I say, I don't know if they shut down the flights or whatever.
Yeah.
I say, where you going? Where can I go? The lady says, well, we got something to Seattle. Well, we got something to Nashville. I said, Nashville.
Yeah.
I want to go to Nashville. I think the flight was at 11:30 that night. I flew to Nashville. I was in Nashville in the morning. I was in the hotel by noon or 2, and I watched the riots from Nashville in the pool, in the hotel, on TV. I got the cowboy hell out of there.
Okay. And then upon coming back, what did you what felt different?
Very much so. I'm in Koreatown.
Yeah.
All right. They have lost a lot. Not necessarily in that part of town, but their stores and all that were attacked. So they were very wary of me. They kept an eye on me. It was not the nice, warm little cozy little neighborhood that I had been in. There was a Mexican gang that was having issues with, I think, what's that? One of those Central American countries had a gang.
Probably more than likely, like what's that? Honduras, I'm guessing.
It was close to there. Close to there. I don't think it was Honduras, but very close to there.
Yeah.
I come out of my apartment. We've already had the riots, right? I come out of my apartment. I turn the corner. I'm looking at 40 cholos. If people here don't know what a cholo is, it's a Spanish gangster. They had tattoos up their necks. I teardrops, which means I think they've killed someone. The hair stood up on the back of my neck. They all had on white shirts. Yeah. They were having a conflict with this other gang who was at some point in this neighborhood.
In the neighborhood.
I can't, but it was something like Honduran.
Yeah.
I walked through them like a man. I got my newspaper and my ice cream. I walked back through them like a man. When I got into my apartment, I was trembling. It was one white guy in the building, and he came up to me. He said, "Lou, it's time for guys like you and me to go." He was a bookie.
Yeah.
And he had been there for a good while, a very long while. I had been there for some years.
Yeah.
But after 10 years of being there, he moved to Pasadena. And when my wife came, I got married here in 95. I had to come home and get me a wife because you don't want to marry one of them girls out there.
Hilarious.
And when she came, which was about 9 or 10 months after he left, I was the only one there.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of not Puerto Rican, but Bruno Mars.
What is he? I think he's like
he's a mix.
Like he's like I thought like he's not Samoan, but he's
he's anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, there were a lot of those people there.
Yeah.
Wonderful folk.
Yeah.
When the earthquakes would come, they would go outside for 2-3 days. Bottom line, when my wife came, we looked up someplace and we moved way out
Okay.
damn near horse country. We moved way up we moved 35 miles out of town.
Wow.
So we were out there 24 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And another one of those cultural moments that you're there for in that same arc, which it actually happens over time, the O.J. Simpson trial.
Mhm.
What was the feel like out there at that point in time? What was that moment?
My wife was teaching in Brentwood,
Wow.
3 blocks from his house.
Okay, and I've been out in Brentwood. Actually, one of the studios I recorded songs at is out in Brentwood. So Brentwood is a very
Ritzy.
prestigious community. It's everything that you would think. It's definitely that. Many of the houses have like all those like guest houses and all that stuff out there. The studio I recorded at was like a guest house in Brentwood.
So it was electric out there during that time because he was finally caught, but it just really upset the community because his house where the murders were very close to her school where she taught. She taught at Brentwood Magnet School. So it was very touchy. I did a play at that point. It was a trilogy. God. Anyway, one of the plays was about the ride, and I was not in that play. But I was in a play with a young man who had attacked his son, and I played the vengeful father. All of this is like within 6 months after this whole thing happened.
I mean, after the verdict is
after the verdict. So that play got a lot of attention. It lingered. A lot of people were upset because back in Rodney King, the police got off.
Yeah.
So a lot of Black people were very upset.
Yeah.
Because there's 17 cops beating this man.
Yeah.
That's where the whole term "can't we all just get along" come from.
Yeah.
But in this particular trial, when the Black man got off, there were a whole lot of people on the other side that were very upset. So there was a lot of angst in the air. And being a Black male, full grown, you had a lot of eyes on you. And that was just something that we had to wait until things just calmed down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And because always like when moments like that happen, that really, in my mind, that trial shifts a lot of history in the way that I think we interpret media and entertainment, because that trial, I mean, it's hard for anybody now to kind of imagine. I'm younger when this happens, but that's like the first, I think, foray into like a kind of like definitely court television, but almost like reality television of day by day.
It may have started court TV because I don't think
it did.
A lot of trials were in front of the cameras.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. So man, this has been a rich story. I guess I want to kind of close with like some of my last questions. I want to ask now, with these years in theater and acting and this, all the everything that you've touched, especially in culture and arts. What do you think what did you find the most, I guess, fulfilling in the journey of being on stage and acting and touching into that? And did your son continue doing it as well?
Well, no, I'm the one that got the job at that point.
Okay. All right.
But I can say that my son grew up to be a wonderful young man.
That's phenomenal.
Highly received by a whole lot of people.
Beautiful.
He was a coach for the West Side Cubs.
Oh, man, sweet, sweet red and white.
Yeah.
There we go. Yes,
yes. He had a lot of young men reported about how influential he was in him steadying them.
Yeah.
and setting them up for the journey that got them to the pros.
That's beautiful.
Or to wherever else they were going.
Yeah.
But me, the biggest thing I got out of it, I got to take care of my family.
That's beautiful.
Because it is just a job. All jobs are honorable. I got to take care of my family. My family was broken up. It was hard. It was very hard. But no harder than other people's plight.
Yeah.
You know? So that's what I got out of it. And I got to come home. And I got to be around my family. There's nothing bigger to me in life than family and friends.
That's beautiful.
And a lot of friends, it's just the truth. You know, it's not about what kind of car you drive, people you run with, kind of clothes you wear. I remember going on the lot at, what was it? We were shooting, I think it was Dynasty or something else. I drive old cars.
Yeah.
And the guy said, well, background goes over here. I said, I'm not background. I told him what show I was on. He looked on the roster. He said, oh, well, you can park anywhere over here you like.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not here to impress anyone. I am here to be the best friend I can be, the best father I can be. I just so happen to be an actor. My dad said, find something you love. Well, first of all, he said, what do you want to be? I'm thinking about 17. I want to be a big shot like you.
Okay.
He said, really? I said, yeah. All I want, is what I told him then. All I want is a pickup truck and an ass pocket full of money.
There you go.
That's just me.
Yeah.
Other people aspire to other things.
True indeed.
He said, well, then you do this. And I'm sending this to whoever can hear me. Find something you love to do. Learn it from the bottom up. Do not skip any steps. Find a way to turn it into money. And it can never be taken away from you. No matter what it is you learn to do because you love it. Some people have aptitude for their hands. I'm a Booker T. Washington fan. All right? There's a lot of people, they don't need college. They need a craft where they can put their head and their hands together to make what God put in them to do. And a whole lot of people in the manual arts make a whole lot more money than people with a whole lot of college degrees. There is honor in every type of work. Hold your head up high. Guy told me in Nashville once, I was a senior in economics. I'm working at Vanderbilt Hospital.
Yeah.
Guy comes up to me, he says, you don't need this job. What do you mean? He said, you're walking around here with your head up high. I looked around, and I saw the other janitors with their carts.
Yeah.
And their head was like this. And I realized I had options, and they didn't.
Yeah.
You know? So whatever it is you do it the best you can, learn it the best you can, find a way to turn it into money. And the biggest thing I got from being out there is a pension. And everything else that goes with being the same thing them guys worked in the plant all them years. They got a house, they got a car, they got a family, and friends.
All right. So now I got to hit you with the classic Detroit is different questions. One kind of go to something you just kind of talk about a little bit. But what was your very first car? Year, make, and model, year you got it?
Had a candy apple red 57 Ford Fairlane 500 convertible.
Ford Fairlane. Okay.
Convertible.
All right. Convertible.
Candy apple red.
Hey. There we go.
I shared it with my sister.
All right. What year did you get it?
I'd say it was about 1960, 61.
Okay. Where's the first place you went when you got it?
Well, everybody here went to Belle Isle.
There you go. And that actually, surprisingly, that is throughout one of the top places people either say, I went back to school, work, or Belle Isle. School, work, and Belle Isle. Those three things. You know.
Went to Belle Isle, bending and grinning.
Okay, I'm
riding and gliding.
All right.
Dressing and dressing.
Okay.
Reading the funnies, collecting the money.
I'm with it. All right. This one, you're the DJ at the end of the fireworks. Woodward and Jefferson. You get to play 2 songs. What songs you playing?
How did you preface that?
You're the DJ at the end of the Detroit fireworks. You get to play 2 songs. You're on Woodward and Jefferson. What 2 songs are you playing?
The Falcons, You're So Fine.
Okay.
You know it?
Mm-mm.
It was the hit of the black community. I would say it's about 1958.
Okay.
Something like that. JoJo Stubbs sang lead.
Okay.
That's Levi Stubbs' brother.
Never knew it. Okay.
And they were first cousins to Jackie Wilson.
Okay.
Did you know that?
Did not know that.
Man, there's so many strong families and histories that are going around. But that tune,
okay,
You're So Fine, man, it's a mantra for people in my age group. Everybody dances on that record.
Okay.
The other tune, The Love I Lost by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Man, if there was ever a tune to open a show with, that's the tune. And listen to the long version.
Okay.
The Love I Lost.
I've heard that one. I've definitely heard that one. Familiar with that Philly soul a little bit. You got some Detroit soul and some Philly soul. We connected.
Yeah, if it's good, it's good.
There we go. And last question. You could rename Woodward after one Detroiter. Who would it be and why?
Man. There are a lot of people. There are a lot of people who did some wonderful things. But I grew up around Carolyn Kilpatrick.
Okay.
Our families ran 4 generations. They were in construction. Carolyn's brother Ray, he was in construction. Our kids and our kids' kids were all. When I went to her funeral, and I heard people talk about the things, I always knew that she was just a outstanding individual. But the things that I heard that she did for Detroit in terms of getting bus lines and roads done and all of that, she's the name that's looming in my head right now.
Well, I can definitely say so much prayers up to the Cheeks and Kilpatrick family in her loss most recently. In it, she was atop the list of guests I wanted on Detroit is Different. Her role from appropriations and even in the Congressional Black Caucus, like some of the impacts of things she did that long ago are still impacting not just Detroit and a lot of Black Detroiters, but even the suburban spaces and places that that exist. And like as you say, what's happening, roadways, recreation centers, school systems,
equal opportunity,
so much, very much so, very much so. And one of the I'm sure somebody's working on it. I'm more so connected, I guess, to, and we love that. I'm a Northwestern guy, connected to the chairman's story and some of the people connected to Kanye's story. But I'm definitely applauding whatever moves forward in honoring her legacy, because I think more of that should definitely be uplifted. You're the first person to honor her, and I definitely am one to say that she is one of the Detroiters that has made a grand impact.
Greater than most people know.
Very much so. Very much so. And even and then shout out to Shelly McIntosh and sharing this, even her roots with the roots of that shrine of Black Madonna. Jaramogi spoke to like many different people into leadership. So like the hierarchy of what happens through the African Synod Christianity of the Shrine of the Black Madonna, like so spoken into leadership was a lot of these public figures and like a Barbara Rose Collins as well. But a lot was like, this is going to be some of that role. So like a lot of her family and others, and when we think of like that institution of the Shrine of Black Madonna, seeing the leadership in her, it only like echoes and reverberates throughout.
Okay.
Yes, sir. With that, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Detroit is different.